Hello again. This time another issue. Threaded lights. So what you need to do is find out what it is, because it can be the seatbelt tensioner, seatbelt mat, or the battery safety terminal. In my case, it is resistance firing circuit battery terminal too high, and it's currently active. The following fault is stored in a fault code memory: resistance triggering circuit, safety battery terminal too high. Click next. And it says what I need to check, but I know what the problem is. So if I go continue, display resistance measured, continue, need safety battery terminal. So it will do a self-test. Hopefully within a minute it will say the resistance is too high, and it should be, I think, above 2.4, 2.8 ohms or 3.5. There was something odd numbers, 1.8 till 3.5, I think it was. I got it partially right. So more about these numbers. We're aiming for anything between 1.3 and 3.5 ohms, so obviously the 5.0 is way too much. Whenever I'm done with the cables, I will have to come back and recheck the resistance value, and hopefully it will be within the limits, and after that I will be able to read the error code, and it shouldn't be there anymore. At the end of the power cable, where the battery positive terminal is, there's a sensor connected with like two black wires, and it reads the resistance, and in the event of crash it's supposed to trigger the detonator, so it disconnects the power from the battery. And what sometimes happens is, if you remove the battery, let's say put it on charge, or you swap another battery, or don't know, somebody touches the wrong wire or something, that resistance could be way out of specs. So for the E60, the specifications should be between 1.3 and 3.5 ohms. I've seen a lot of people installing like a bypass, buying the like 2 ohm resistors and soldering in, but I don't like it, just because in the event of crash it's not gonna disconnect the battery, and the phrase crash and burn. Yeah, I wouldn't fancy that. So I will show you how to, at least temporary, long-term, well, it's contradicting, but let's say long-term solution, how to fix this without using some kind of bypass. Right, what you need to do is remove the cover to access the battery. So the BST error is this one. I just disconnected it, and it goes all the way here. What I find out on my previous car was, for some reason, this connector or the cables here, there is a break in them, so it's reading too much or too little resistance. And one thing what you can do is check it with voltmeter. Trying my best to do this with one hand, but you can see that if you change the dial to ohms, like resistance, you can actually see the resistance on the cable. But what you need to do is, if you kind of move it, you can see the resistance changes. So what you're trying to do is secure the cable with insulating tape, electrical tape. Yay, electrical tape. What you need to do first is secure the cable with the insulating tape, and then once this part doesn't move, check the resistance here. Once it's in a range, you can put. So once you put everything back together, just before that, you need to check the resistance. And if the resistance is fine, you can connect the cable and use the diagnostic software to check if you succeeded or not. So once we're in the car, yet again we turn on ignition, and let's go back to ISTA. Click on redetermine resistance values, continue. So at the moment it's loading, it will take a minute. Hopefully this number, instead of 5.9, it should be, I'm hoping for anything between 1.3 and 3.5 ohms. Well, look who's here. Safety battery terminal, resistance 2.7 ohms. So whatever you do now at the battery, if you touch it, the readings will be different, might be different, depends how bad it is. So if you're changing the battery, most likely it will show up again and you will have to redone it. But this is the cheap way, and I think the best way to do it without soldering the actual resistor on the wires, bypassing the actual safety mechanism. So this is, for me at least, this would be the preferred option. So just to prove that it is working, I will return to selection, return now end test module. No fault can currently be found in a component group, which is good, so it's actually working. So end test module, continue, and if I go back, delete fault memory, clear all error memories. Yes, don't mind the other faults. It's my CCC finally gave up. Yeah. Right. Delete fault memory. Oh, one error is gone. Switch off ignition and remove the ignition key. Done. Waiting for changeover. Waiting, and insert the key. So the lights lit up like they're supposed to do, and then they should disappear. Yes. It's just a seat belt. So once I plug in the seat belt, no, it's not that. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So here you go. A proof that it can be fixed quite cheaply and effectively. Well, I hope you guys liked the video. Also, thanks to my subscribers. I finally reached the 100 subscriber mark. Hopefully there will be more to come, as there will be more videos regarding E60s, especially the last thing that what I did was gearbox rebuild.